Hi, I'm Dana Robinson with Plumpy Thimble, and today I'll be reviewing the Moonstruck Market expansion for Arcane Alley, which will be a little bit difficult because I haven't reviewed the full game yet. So give me a little bit of time and we will fix that right here, right now. Hi, I'm Dana Robinson with Plumpy Thimble, and today we're taking a look at Arcane Alley. Arcane Alley is a set collection spatial management game for 2 to 6 players. Players work to sell magical goods from their markets, which are comprised of a 3x3 grid. Players sell their goods for cash by connecting any 3 identical goods in a line. When they do so, their grid size is reduced. On their turn, players must draw a card from the top of the discard or the deck. Then either play a card from their hand or discard a card from their hand. Playing a card from their hand replaces one of the cards on their grid. Any cards that are played to a player's grid are played face up, even if the card that was being replaced was face down. Once a player has turned all cards in their grid face up or sold them all, the round ends. Players take a certain amount of infamy for items left over during the inspection phase, which can eventually be transferred into big monetary penalties. This is done for 3 rounds and then the game ends, with the person that made the most money winning. There are wizard characters with special abilities and tricky ways to sway strategy and luck in your favor. The long and the short of it is that I really enjoy this game. The art, the mechanisms, the spatial puzzle, with just a splash of luck is something that really appeals to me. Now that luck factor is something that might not be for everyone, especially in the base game here. It's got a lot of, you're stuck at the will of the draw, and some of the cards make it difficult and you can paint yourself into corners. All of the items have really interesting powers and they can cause really fun and interesting combinations or really frustrating conundrums. Ultimately, the frustration isn't enough to deter me from the charm of this game. Okay, great. Now that that's out of the way, back to Moonstruck Market. It is an expansion that seeks to fix some of the slight problems that I have with a game that I really love. With a few different modules that you throw into the base game to smooth some of the edges of Arcane Alley, the question is, does it assist the game or does it further hinder it and bog it down a little bit? In Moonstruck Market, there are a number of additions that can be thrown right into the game. First is the deck of cards. This is chock full of new items with new effects and new art. Rather than diluting the deck, however, these cards work together and can be sold in mismatched sets with cards from the base game. If you like, you can sell a gelatinous ball with 2 crystal balls in a set. As long as that second word matches, you're good. There's now discard effects as well, something that happens when particular cards are discarded. In the base game, certain cards only had effects for when they were played, when they were visible, or when they were sold. The cards also have new ways to be sold. Each of the new cards has an icon with the moon phase on it. In this expansion, that matters a lot. If it's your turn and the moon is right, you can sell sets that don't match as long as they have all the correct moon phase showing. Speaking of which, the moon die is present at all times and changes when it's the next person's turn or when a sale is made. This die does nothing on its own, but when cards indicate that something more or different can happen when the moon is right, you consult this die to see if it is. There are also 2 new wizard characters with their own special power, each relating to the market expansion. Finally, the titular market. This is a new way for players to draw cards. Rather than just drawing from the discard and the deck, players can spend money to buy one of 3 face-up cards from the market. Built from the new modified deck, cards are placed here and refilled when bought. As is the case with some of these prototypes, I do want to first initially just let you know that everything that you saw is a prototype form. It's a very nice looking prototype, but the game itself is going to look better and be of higher quality than what I had at my disposal. A few things that stood out to me to note in terms of what this expansion has is the vast amount of cards that it adds to the game. While it's not an overwhelming amount, the fact is that with the addition of all the cards that this has to offer, it's a bulky deck that you're dealing with. Thankfully, all the cards, at least in this prototype that I got, could all fit in the base box, which is it's a big plus for me, but it still creates an unwieldy deck. It's a big deck. It's a bigger deck to deal with. As we're in a game where there already was a lot of cards, this just adds more, which I'm okay with in a lot of instances. However, in a game that's sort of meant to be sort of a lighter weight game, it becomes a little bit overwhelming, but not devastatingly so. Another thing with the moon phase, while it adds a lot of interesting elements and new ways to sell cards, which is great, it's a little hard to wrangle in. Getting that moon die to the correct phase so that you can solve some of the problems that you might have based on luck, it's a little difficult to control, which means that luck still does play a big factor in this game, which is part of the game, and if that's something that you're okay with, fantastic. And at my initial time of review for this, there wasn't any additions to the 2-player rules, And I found that the two-player game in the base set is a little finicky in and of itself, but with the addition of more cards and more opportunities to sell cards, both players ended up selling out of their storehouses kind of before turn 15 came around. It's a little finicky, and there's some house rules that you can do to add to it, but it's just something that I would have liked to seen a little bit more refined. That being said, it is a game that I did enjoy at just about all player counts that I tried it at. Sure, the moon die is a little hard to control, and there's a lot more cards, so it's a bit bulkier, but does that fix some of the problems? Are you still more likely to paint yourself into a corner that you can't get out of? No, it's a lot less likely with this. Like I said, luck plays a factor into this game, and that's part of the game. It's something that you get with the experience. But with the Moonstruck Market, it makes it less likely that that will happen. It gives you options on what you can sell and gives you ways out of tough situations. It's interesting without being overly convoluted. Now, initially I saw all these cards, and while yeah, there's a lot of new cards with interesting effects and different point values, the fact that you can match up some of these new cards with the old cards in the game, just bearing in mind that it has to be the same thing, it has to be a carpet, or it has to be a ball of some sort, but it can still have a different effect, but you can still sell them all together as a set. It works really well. It adds a new flavor, a new pizzazz to the game without overly convoluting the entire process. The new players are fine. It gives you more variability, different colors that you can play with some powers that correspond directly to the Moonstruck Market expansion. The art is, as usual, great. I really like the look and the feel and the theme of this game, and this just adds to it with that sort of bizarre carnival feel to it, and it's something that I did really enjoy. Taking a step back as a whole, and just with the fact that you can throw everything into the same box and present this game in its entirety without, I mean, you could present the expansion with the base game fairly easily, and it's something that I did my first time playing with it. It's very good, and if you like Arcane Alley, it keeps the spirit of the game with adding only a few small changes that improve it ever so slightly, but enough to make this a win. You've got that fun spatial puzzle, which is something that I really enjoy. The set collection is a little rummy-like, and it has an element of luck that I do really enjoy with this weight of game. So first and foremost, if you're interested in Arcane Alley, check that out. If it looks like it's something that would be cool, buy it. And if you're further interested, check out Moonstruck Market, because I think this adds a whole lot to a game that is truly a hidden gem. Hi, I'm Dana Robinson, and today I'll be reviewing the Arcane Alley Moonstruck Market. Hi, I'm Dana Robinson. Hi, I'm Dana Robinson with Plumpy, Thimble, and today I will be reviewing the Moonstruck Market. Hi, I'm Dana Robinson with Plumpy, Thimble. Hi, I'm Dana Robinson.